Coming up on TekThing, Kano PC encoding for kids. Is it time to update WhatsApp and Telegram? Yes, they've got holes. 10 pounds of gaming laptop, Lenovo Y900, and unlimited data? One viewer says it really is unlimited. That's all coming up on TekThing. Thank you, patrons. Without your support via patreon.com/TekThing, we wouldn't be able to make the show for you every week. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
Woo! 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 I'm having a good Tuesday.
We have some good stuff on this episode. First off, we got a tweet. This one is from Jeffrey Spurl, who tweets at TekThing, "Hi, for his birthday, my soon-to-be 7-year-old wants a Kano, Kano.me. What do you think of it? Any alternatives?" Thank you for that question.
Boy.
What do you think?
I, too, have small children at home.
Yes, he does.
And they want things. Oh my gosh. So, Kano.me started as a Kickstarter project. Computer and coding kits for all ages. There's a cool orange keyboard and a cool yellow monitor.
That's cute.
And it's a Raspberry Pi with like really cool parts. TLDR, I love the idea of Kano, but I wouldn't buy one for my kids. And Kano.
How come?
Well, okay. Well, first of all, Kano, catnip for a 7-year-old. Right?
Yeah.
Awesome colors, cool-looking orange keyboard, picture book setups, right? Because it's a kit. You give your child the box of parts, right? And they assemble it, and it's it looks cheap compared to a traditional laptop or a desktop. When you're 6 or 7 years old, it's like, Dad, it's $150.
Yeah.
And a real computer is like $700. Dad, we're going to save so much money. And Kano OS is a really cool idea. It's supposed to teach you really cool coding stuff. And it's got like Minecraft. And you can code
it has
Pong
Minecraft.
And Scratch.
Now it makes all sorts of sense.
Yeah. Minecraft coding, my understanding, has been changed to hacks in the last few months. And Kano is a Linux GUI running on a Raspberry Pi, and even though it's a Model 3, it's not exactly fast. I like the idea, but $150 for a Pi 3, a Bluetooth keyboard, a Pi case with a speaker, and a power supply, kind of pricey.
That is a little pricey.
On the sale, bundled with the screen kit, is $289, and that's a snap together. It's cool. You snap together a 10.1-inch 720p screen. Again, with shiny, kid-friendly colors. I get it. It sports Kano OS. But Kano OS is the key, and I'm not really sure how well it's holding up. It is a great concept, right? The first time you boot the Raspberry Pi, it speaks to you. It's going to help you walk you through getting your username and checking the keyboard setup. And if you want to, you can go to developers.kano.me/downloads, and you can actually get the Kano OS to experiment with. Since there's so much orange here, I'm going to say you can decide yourself if the juice is worth the squeeze. It's been a tough couple months for Kano. They had a whole bunch of keyboards. The keyboard vendor goofed, so a lot of their keyboards died in like January.
That's the worst.
And the reactions to the email-based support that Kano offers are somewhat less than impressed in the most part, whether they're having issues with the operating system or issues with dead keyboards. I think they have a lot of questions, a very, very small tech support team. Well, hello to you too.
Was not expecting that. Here, let me just mute that real quick.
That was funny. I mean, it is a cool concept. I don't know I don't think it kind of has the resources it needs to become this all-in-one, self-hosted, kid-friendly. But the flip side is a lot of times if you show a kid like, here's a Raspberry Pi and here's a power supply and we're going to put it in this box, and they're like, meh. But if they get this all-in-one sort of catered experience, they're down with it.
Plug and play seems to work out pretty well with kids.
Well, yeah, or in this case, it's like the box, and they have the books for them, which are really, really cool. And the books,
that's cute.
Yeah, but when you're talking about assembling a Raspberry Pi, you're talking about like 5 minutes of work.
Yeah.
In any case, as far as alternatives goes, one option is the Fuse PC, which is this really kind of cool, very old school looking steel enclosure with a keyboard built like a laptop keyboard built into the front of it. And
that's
look
cute.
at that. It's a breadboard. I get excited about breadboarding. That's a little more durable, I think. You can go DIY. It's a Raspberry, the Kano is a Raspberry Pi 3, a wireless dongle, and a Bluetooth keyboard. It had the really, really cool enclosure with a speaker built in. For what it's worth, my son's currently using a Lenovo 100S. That's been end of life, but there are newer, inexpensive PCs running Windows you can choose.
Oh, cool.
We're going to keep him on the 100S a little bit longer. He's using it for Minecraft and for Scratch and a bunch of other stuff. He'll outgrow it soon, and then we'll pass it on down to his little brother. I love open source. I love Linux, but Minecraft plus Windows plus kids is Lego grade crack.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just saying. As far as learning code goes, there are a lot of options out there.
Oh, yeah.
If you've never heard of them, codecombat.com. It's basically learn computer science while playing in a game environment. A lot of good things I hear about that. Hourofcode.com. Started as 1-hour introductions to computer science, designed to demystify code to show that anybody can learn the basics and to broaden participation in the field of computer science. You can create an account as a teacher or as a parent, and there's been 165,316 hours of code events around the world.
Wow.
And they also have tons of tutorial on the website. They have like 1-hour tutorials in 45 languages.
That's
and you'll
cool.
notice there's kid-friendly tie-ins
Oh,
like
it's Moana
and Minecraft and shiny stuff like that.
Very cute.
Yeah, it's, there's lots of options. Scratch is one that's really, really popular. Scratch.mit.edu. It's not so much programming, but it is programming. They say program your own interactive stories, games, and animations, and share your creations with others in the online community. This is Scratch is more about thinking and reasoning than programming, but reasoning systematically is kind of critical for coding. This one's out of MIT Media Labs. There are so many options.
There are, especially for kids.
Yeah, I would start working backwards with Code Combat or Hour of Code and sneak it into your child and give them an experience. I would say spend the money for a laptop or break down the time to sit with them on your computer, create a guest account, create their own account, give them access to a desktop. It's in a family-friendly area like the kitchen or the family area where the parents can check in and make sure they're not watching tens of thousands of hours of YouTube videos. I like the idea of the Kano. It just seems like a lot of money and a lot of issues with support that you probably don't want to deal with.
And I feel like a few people are going to mention it, so I'll mention it here. Codecademy, that's something that I've used. I don't think it's kid-friendly necessarily. Right. It's much more advanced. But Codecademy was something that I checked out a lot when I was getting into coding, when I was very beginner coding tutorials, when that's the kind of thing I was looking for. So if you want to check it out, Codecademy is over at codecademy.com, but it's more adult-friendly. So if you guys have a recommendation for kids and for coding and technology and getting your kids into those STEM related things, email us, ask@tekthing.com. I would love to share this, and I know Patrick would too, given he has a couple of kids of his own.
I have children to infect. TekThing is here for you, people. We love your questions, your tips, and we do our best to review products and apps you ask us about. Fire them out to ask@tekthing.com, please, or you can tweet @TekThing, @Snubs, or @Patrick Norton. We really appreciate it. And hey, a big thank you to everybody that supports the show at patreon.com/TekThing. Just $1 an episode makes a difference, and you'll get access to our patron-only treats like the AMD Ryzen 7 build going live this week. Woohoo! Thank you for your patronage. You make the show possible. Let's start GPUs. 1080, now a bargain. $499 after the launch of the 1080 Ti. And if you're going mobile, the new 1060, 1070, 1080, which I really want an M after, but they're so close to the desktop performance.
They are.
NVIDIA doesn't want you to put an M after them. In any case, they are way faster than the previous gen mobile processors. Oh my goodness, or mobile GPUs.
Mobile GPUs.
Mobile GPUs. Which brings me to Lenovo's Ideapad Y900, the 7.3-inch ultimate gaming laptop.
What?
Okay, so remember Shannon's Razer Blade?
Yes, my baby.
Yes, this is Shannon's Razer Blade, which is a gaming laptop.
It's 4 pounds.
Not much larger than, a typical all-around computer.
You scare me. Can I hold it?
I won't drop it. No. Here, you operate the telephone for a second.
Okay.
This, for comparison, is a more traditional gaming laptop.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That thing is huge.
If I can get, there we go. So 16.7 by 12.4 by 1.4 inches thick.
And how much does that weigh?
9.8 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big, but you know what?
Woo.
I'll gently put that down upside
Thank
down.
you.
It has a 17.3-inch 1080p display.
Whoa.
Yeah, with
That's
NVIDIA
hardcore.
G-Sync. And which means if you're not familiar with G-Sync, it syncs the refresh rate to the monitor. It's available on desktop. It's available on a very small group of laptops. It means no tears, smooth gaming. There's also a really nice anti-glare coating on the Y900's monitor, which of course, now that I'm in the studio, I hit the exact right angle to get it to glare a little bit, but it's much better than I'm used to from a lot of laptops. And an incredibly wide field of view. In fact, I can still read Lenovo to about
Yeah,
here.
so can I from over here.
So if you're operating at different levels, it is easy
cool.
to get your hands on. Brushed metal chassis.
Nice.
Yeah, the build quality is really great. JBL did the speakers. There's kind of a subwoofer underneath it.
Oh, wow.
Rubbery wrist rests, a 4" by 3" Synaptic touchpad, and a ridiculously nice mechanical backlit keyboard. Now, these are not...
they also have the number pad. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they actually got the center of the keyboard fairly close.
Yeah.
One of the things I find frustrating, a lot of gaming laptops, the keyboard is offset.
Yep.
So that if the laptop is balanced on your lap,
you
your
have
hands
to
are over. Yeah, I can't.
And then it's really hard to keep it balanced because one of your hands is weighing down past where your knee is. I totally understand this problem.
So they did a fairly good job. It's like this is the center line and G and H are right here. So it feels better than a lot of other ones.
Yeah.
The keys are really nice. They're not cherry keys, but they
good.
have way more tactile feel and click than you get from a laptop.
Okay.
Like Shannon mentioned, full number pad. There's 4 programmable macro keys and customizable lighting.
Like, is it full RGB?
Full RGB.
Nice.
All controlled by the apps in the Lenovo Nerve Center.
Cool.
Deluxe, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, $2,500. It should be.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's like 300 more, 400 more than your Razer Blade.
Okay.
Let's talk about the guts. Core i7 6820HK, 8 gigabyte NVIDIA GTX 980M, 1 terabyte 5400 RPM drive, plus a 256 gigabyte Samsung NVMe SSD.
Nice.
Yeah, optionally you can run dual SSDs in RAID 0 if you're kind of rolling that way. 16 gigabytes of EDR4 in our configuration, 64 gigabytes max. And in the corner, there's a turbo key.
A turbo key?
There's a turbo key. It will not work unless this is plugged in.
Oh,
but it overclocks the CPU and GPU automatically.
Got it.
And frankly, it delivered much less of a performance boost than I'd hoped for or hyped for because I was like, turbo, yeah! I wanted Kit to jump over the bridge, but...
It didn't do much for you, huh?
Yeah, it didn't do much. But I like the turbo button. The fans on this are loud even if you aren't gaming. But because they are so loud and move so much air, they cycle fairly quickly. Battery life is well within the gaming laptop tradition. It is meh. Figure under 4 hours if you're doing heavy browsing over Wi-Fi.
It's pretty similar with that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get a GPU,
it's pretty terrible.
Yeah, discrete GPU equals miserable battery life. It's a thing.
Yeah.
There is an epic array of ports on this. On the left side,
good.
Ports are awesome. 2 USB 3.0 ports, a USB-C port with Thunderbolt, an Ethernet jack,
cool.
HDMI display port, the power jack.
Wow.
And then on the other side, micro SD card slot.
Yes.
A microphone jack, headset jack, and 2 more USB 3.0 ports.
Oh, regular SD, okay.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool.
So.
That's pretty hardcore.
Well, yeah, if you want to use your gaming headset or a separate microphone and you've got like a keyboard, a mouse.
Oh yeah. You can plug all your peripherals and you can get actual Ethernet through the thing too. You don't have to have an adapter or anything.
Here's the rub. When Lenovo built up spec'd out the Y900, they spec'd it out for the last generation of parts, and not too long after that was the launch of NVIDIA's Pascal mobile parts. That's the 1060, 1070M, and 1080M. Excuse me, I'm not supposed to call them M. The GTX 1060, the GTX 1070, and the GTX 1080.
And I believe mine has the 60. Yeah.
Look, the 1060, 1070, 1080 are amazing mobile 3D GPUs. They are very, very close to desktop GPU performance, except that they fit inside of laptops and they don't drain your battery in 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Shannon's Razer has a GTX 1060 and a Core i7 6700HQ. Now, it's not exactly cheap at $2,100, but it's running the least fast of this new 10XX series of mobile parts from GTX. So running 3D Mark's DX12 benchmark, Time Spy was like a score of 3531, and the DirectX 11 benchmarks Firestrike is 8153.
Right.
So the Y900 with the former top of the line 980M, $28.99 on TimeSpy, which is like
wow.
18% slower than the 1060. That's the DX12 benchmark. And on Firestrike, it was like under 3% slower, or within 3%, and in turbo mode, it was about 3% faster.
Okay, so a lot closer with the second test.
With the DirectX 11 benchmarks.
Right.
That's the slowest of the next-gen mobile GPUs. The equivalent, right? If you're, I would think that this would go from the 980M to the 1080, which would be considerably faster than the 1060 that's in that laptop. Yeah, the mobile 1080 should be nearly twice as fast as the 980M, give or take which benchmarks you're looking at, what day it is, the phase of the moon. G-Sync on the Pascal parts will hit 120 hertz instead of being capped on 75 hertz like it is in Maxwell.
Okay.
I really enjoy gaming on Lenovo's Ideapad.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's
so big,
yeah,
though.
it is a backpack without straps, right?
Basically, yeah. Oh, wow. Can I hold it?
Yes, you can hold the power supply. The power supply is huge, too.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
As an alternative to, say, dragging around a monitor and a full-size desktop PC, it's pretty slick.
This is for LAN parties.
This is for LAN parties. This is for gaming. It's
cool, though.
Yeah, it is an awesome beast of a laptop. I enjoyed gaming on it. I enjoyed the keyboard. It could be an epic mobile editing or mobile workstation if you're using heavy-duty applications.
Yeah.
But $2,500 is a lot to pay for last-generation graphics that are going to get stomped by the current top-of-the-line NVIDIA GTX 1080 and beaten pretty badly by the current top-of-the-line GTX 1070.
Yeah.
So I would keep an eye out for an update to this that brings the next-generation parts online.
Totally, yeah.
And hey, if that doesn't bother you and you want all of the ports,
oh my gosh.
9.8 pounds of expansive
glory. My studio mind, I'm like, oh, look at all those ports.
Yeah.
I wouldn't need an HDMI adapter like what I'm using right here.
You wouldn't need an Ethernet adapter.
It's got the full number pad. Man, that's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on here. I just wish it had the latest graphics. Not sure I want to carry this a really long distance either, but
I would use that as home as a desktop replacement.
And then you could plug it into a big monitor.
Yeah. You totally could, although that's already pretty big, so I don't know if you would need a bigger monitor than that. Let us know what you guys think. You can email us, ask@tekthing.com, or you can send us your picks for gaming laptops over to @TekThing, @PatrickNorton, and @Snubs.
I'm feeling a disturbance in the force, a security breach.
Another one.
What's happening on ThreatWire?
So this week was a fun one. We had a lot of really good stories, and we also had a community contribution, which was great. But one of my favorite stories was from Checkpoint, which is a security firm over in Israel. They apparently found vulnerabilities in the web apps for both Telegram and WhatsApp late last week. So both of those applications allow you to use end-to-end encryption via the web browser alongside your mobile, which is super cool. So while the encryption is really secure, it turns out that the file uploaders for those were not, because they also let you encrypt files and transfer those to and from people. And they could allow an attacker to gain full control of an account, including accessing contacts, accessing files saved in the app, and message history if you save that in the application too, which is super serious, really scary.
This is why people do pen testing, and this is why you hire people to hammer and do weird stuff with your apps.
Absolutely.
Because apparently nobody thought, like, what happens if I have somebody uploading a particular type of file that apparently is nefarious?
So their cell phone applications, they're fine, and they encrypt correctly, but it was the web apps that were having a problem. They didn't restrict certain types of uploads correctly, and they were able to bypass the restrictions by hiding HTML code, malicious HTML code, behind a JPEG image or a video. So the attacker can send the encrypted file to the user, and it's malicious, and a user would open it, and then after a URL loaded for that file in the browser, the attacker would be notified, and they could override the session in the web app, taking control over the entire account. So furthermore, since WhatsApp only allows you to have one session open at a time, which is actually a very good thing, another bit of code that the attacker can use would allow them to keep the account open as long as the attacker wanted, and the user would be locked out. So they would be blocked from overriding that access, and they couldn't get their account back, which is really really scary. So Telegram required a little bit more work from the user. They would upload a file very similarly, but in this case, it would have to be a video file, and the user would have to click on the video after opening it for it to actually work. So in Telegram's case, multiple active sessions are allowed. So the user wouldn't even know that their account was compromised. They would never get locked out. They'd just be like, they wouldn't notice it.
I don't remember sending that message.
Yeah,
what do
they
you guys
wouldn't notice.
mean I send out a picture of delete expletive?
So luckily, both of these problems have been fixed by the companies.
Yay.
But of course, this brings to light the fact that a lot of security professionals advise users to stick with the mobile apps for end-to-end encryption and not necessarily use web apps at all, because browsers have a lot more vulnerabilities than an application would. So if you are worried that you've been targeted with this kind of attack, just make sure that you're running the newest version of the web app by restarting your browser. If you do that, the app should automatically update. And you can also check which devices currently have access to your accounts, which is super important, especially if you've changed phones or something like that, via WhatsApp and Telegram, just through the settings, and then turn off anything that you're not familiar with. So if you live in California and you see somebody trying to get into your account from Pennsylvania, obviously that's probably not you.
Kill it.
So
with fire.
yeah, kill it with fire as soon as possible. I thought this was really interesting and important, especially since I know a lot of people that I know personally use WhatsApp and Telegram. So, make sure you're not opening strange files from random people on the internet as usual, especially if it's going through WhatsApp or Telegram and you haven't updated the applications.
Just reboot.
Yes, just reboot. You can learn more and you can watch all of the different stories that I talked about over on ThreatWire. Those are over at youtube.com/hack5 or over at hak5.org. This is my newest episode, which coincidentally, the Yahoo hackers were also indicted this week, so that's interesting. 500 million accounts. That's how many they were able to have access to if they wanted to. That's scary. Crazy stuff happening on the internet for security and privacy, guys. Crazy.
So last week we were talking about a user in rural Colorado that was looking
Yes.
for alternatives to satellite or the regional microwave wireless and was looking at the unlimited mobile data plans.
One of those.
Which I feel, because they throttle you down, some cases as much or as low as to 128K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which at that point I would argue, what can you do?
Email.
Yay!
Text-based websites.
Woo!
You can really slowly load things.
Yay!
In any case, we have a really good set of tweets from @SteveKen. He takes exception to my belief that data is capped on unlimited plans, and he's got evidence.
Yes, so he writes, you guys are doing just like everyone else that spouts incorrect information. Unlimited data cell plans are unlimited. If they were to shut you down completely once you hit the cap, then yeah, it's not unlimited. Slowing you down is not the same as shutting you down, he corrected us in a future tweet, so it is unlimited. I have T-Mobile and haven't been slowed down once after going past 23 gigs. Alrighty.
All right.
Alrighty. Are we spouting incorrect information? Or is it opinion?
I'm going to do Steve Ken. Absolutely correct. And I want to say I said that they won't cut you off, but I don't feel that 128K, when you go from 4G to 2G.
I used to live in Missouri. I know what 2G is like.
Oh, let me tell you about the early days of the cell phone dial-up internet.
I remember those days.
14.4, woo! Okay, in my opinion, slowing you down to 128 kilobits per second is a useless level of bandwidth, and that to me is the same as capping your data. I am delighted to hear that you're blowing past 23 gigabytes without being slowed down, though. That's actually awesome news.
Yeah, that's great.
You have been informed. Here's the thing, though. As long as you have the no throttling experience, your unlimited data should be unlimited, right? Because they're saying, in the case of T-Mobile, they're saying it's only in congested areas. One thing I will point out, when you go to the really tiny type on the T-Mobile website, on all T-Mobile plans, if congested, the top 3% of data users greater than 30 gigabytes a month may notice reduced speeds due to prioritization.
Oh. Okay.
So, at this point, as Steve Ken, if you stay under 30 gigabytes in T-Mobile or your area isn't congested, you are good to go. And seriously, as Steve Ken, thank you. Like we say, there are zillions of you out there watching, and just 2 of us. We cannot experience all of the data plans and all of the places, or
That's
even
true.
most of the internet, even if we give up sleeping. So we want to hear from you at ask.tekthing, ask@tekthing.com.
Ask@tekthing.com,
You
yes.
think I know my email address at this point. It's interesting. I think it's going to change a lot, right? You know, if I'm in a rural part of Nevada that happens to be near a 4G tower, I'm probably going to have fantastic speeds, you know, even if I get over the top of that 30 gigabyte.
Right.
My concern, though, is when you talk about using, you know, in my case, I use a ridiculous amount of unlimited data. At one point, I was averaging 25 gigabytes a month.
Wow.
At one point, a particularly expensive CES, I hit 30 gigabytes.
Yep.
That was a $400 phone bill. $300 phone bill. In any case, but I got all my podcasts done, and we got the files uploaded.
That's good.
That was good. But the thing is, right, especially if you're thinking about using an unlimited wireless account at your home, you know.
Don't do what one of our very good friends did, somebody that might just happen to work here, and use your T-Mobile all the time for watching Netflix in your household, or else you will really go past your unlimited data.
Yeah, well,
they will slow you down real quick.
Yeah, and that's also, we're in a much more congested region of the country,
We
possibly, or I don't think he actually had an unlimited data plan. But I know people who have, you know, I myself once went through, like, I think 15 gigabytes in 2 days because my laptop was still synced to my phone because I had via Wi-Fi, and I hadn't realized it was hooked on to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So I updated the operating system. I downloaded like 2 complete operating systems because I was building some systems. Yeah. So in any case, these are far end of the bell curve examples, or far end of the bell curve examples. You know, keep an eye out. Let us know what you are seeing in the real world, or if any of you, other than, you know, as Steve Ken and I, are actually going anywhere near 25 gigabytes of data.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm thinking that we should expect to see a lot of changes in the next coming few years, especially with the new runner of the Ideapad of the, what is it, the FCC. So we'll probably see some things happening there, along with net neutrality, which can change data plans and even home internet plans as well for different areas of the USA.
Yeah, and I mean the upside of segmenting off video into the sort of streaming, you know, 480p standard definition kind of thing, and not counting it against your cap, is that it doesn't count against your cap.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, remember, everybody, it is the end of the show, so once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen, close your laptop, and do something analog. My pick this week is cleaning up that desk of yours, because everybody's got to clean up their desk. All right, so I'm going to show you a few pictures here. So this is the desk after I fixed it up.
That's the edit station here in the
Yep,
studio.
this is the edit station here, right here in good old Hack 5 Studio. So this is the cabling before. It's terrible. And this is after. Not perfect, obviously. I have some stuff there to take care of, but we do need to pick up a few more networking cabling organizers to fix it up perfectly. And this is the wall.
That's the part that really drove me nuts.
Yeah, this drove me nuts too. I mean, something's hanging there. What the heck?
Off an Ethernet cable.
And now, oh, it's so clean. It is so clean. And then I took my organization tasks to my home, where I upgraded my desk area as well. So I'm much happier with my organized desk now. There's no pens and paper sitting around. All my current tasks are organized into a little file organizer. So I'm much happier with everything right now. And I feel like I can get a lot more done when everything is organized and I know where things are. So
someday I'll have everything organized, and I'll see if that's true. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd be interested in a roundup of Shannon's favorite organizational hacks for the desktop, please let us know.
Yes, let me know. I would love to do a segment about organizing your home office desk or your work desk environment.
It's all
super
about the
fun.
duct tape.
Yeah, that's so true.
Zip ties.
Zip ties.
And duct tape.
Velcro.
We can do better than that. Velcro cable ties are awesome.
Those are the best things
ever. The 50 packs?
Yep.
They are awesome. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Patrick Dorton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And we'll see you next week on TekThing.
Strangest thing I've Velcroed to a wall.
What's the strangest thing you've ever glued to a wall?
No.
You ever glued a PC to a wall?
No, we hung up a PC.
Close.
It was like a framed art PC.
Ever glue a cat to the wall?
Why would I do that? What is wrong with you?
I've never glued a cat to a wall. I just wanted to watch your reaction.
would never do that to my cats.
I had a cat, one of my cats when I was little, was curious about something.
Yeah.
And that something happened to be a piece of duct tape.
Oh
'Cause I pulled
no!
off a bunch of 6-inch pieces of duct tape. And the cat sniffed at the duct tape and then actually nuzzled the duct tape. And then the duct tape stuck to a couple of its whiskers and part of its nose. And then it ran into me. And it stuck the rest of the whiskers onto it. And then I ended up with a lap full of like 21 pounds of angry, upset cat. And individually peeling each whisker
Yeah,
off.
gotta be careful with those.
This is not a happy cat.
No.
Cats and duct tape, not
Poor
perfect together.
baby.
At least it wasn't Gorilla Tape.